Hello and happy gaming, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and as a Christmas present, a friend of mine bought me Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I know, hell of a Christmas present, isn't it? So, I actually hadn't played Monster Hunter World until recently. So, I just started playing it, and I say just started, I have close to like 10, 15 hours, and, just getting started. For some people, 10, 15 hours would be, hey, I'm done with this game, wonder what's up next. Okay, so yeah. But yeah, for Monster Hunter, 15 hours is just getting started. That's scratching the surface. And you know what? I'm fine with that. I've played Monster Hunter 3, I've played Monster Hunter 4, Generations Ultimate. My very first Monster Hunter game was actually Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U and 3DS. And I want to say that over the entire time I was playing that game, I had racked up well over 10,000 hours making every single weapon, every single armor, experimenting with mix sets, experimenting with the game's mechanics and how to accurately get the most out of everything I was doing. But yeah, I'm just saying, I've got some cred when it comes to Monster Hunter. I've put a lot of time into these games, and I'll continue to put a lot of time into these games because they're wonderful. They're well played, beautiful games. The battles that are present in the games are some of the most intense, fun boss battles I've ever played in a video game. And there's some good, intense boss fights in video games. It's just Monster Hunter has some of the most interesting. And I can't sing the praises of Monster Hunter enough. That's basically what I'm saying. And I thought that Monster Hunter World, because of its more semi-realistic approach, was going to be not for me, just because some of the things that I do like about the game are how things are kind of over the top ridiculous, like anime aesthetic. The monsters are big and they're crazy looking, and the armor and weapons that you make from them are ridiculous and very much of impractical designs, but that was part of the fun. It was the kind of anime-esque power fantasy. Hard to say power fantasy when some of the monsters can sometimes kill you in one hit, but take it with a grain of salt. The whole idea is it's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be fantastical. There are armor sets, which, let's be real, if you're playing as a female character, they can be pretty revealing. Fact of the matter is, a lot of those same armor sets are revealing on the men too. It's anime power at its finest, and I love it. And a little bit of a misconception that I had is that World was going to do away with those things. But actually, no, it doesn't. One of the monsters that I thought was going to be one of the most boring monster designs in the game is a monster called Anjanath. And I don't know, I may or may not show that one since I am more or less playing on my own to just record something. But I swear, like, every time I had seen a little bit about that monster, it just looked like a regular old T-Rex. And I was thinking, well, this is boring. What kind of a monster design is this when it's just a red T-Rex? Anyone could do that. That's not what makes Monster Hunter Monster Hunter. That just means that could be done by any game where you fight a big monster. And then I actually fought it, and it turns out he's got these weird, like, wing-like spines on his back, and what you don't notice from a distance, but you notice when you get up close to him, is that he's got fuzz on him. Like, you sever his tail and you notice, oh, it's furry. What the hell? Why is the T-Rex furry? And he gets angry and he can breathe a laser of fire. Where else do you get that aside from crazy anime power fantasy? Laser of fire. Like, the game is crazy. I really was not expecting that from World. World looked like it was taking a step back, and no, not so much. The weapon designs, yeah, okay, I will give them that. The weapon designs are a little bit more grounded, a little bit. But the armor designs and the monster designs, they're still up there as some of the things that I've grown used to from Monster Hunter. And I very much enjoy it. I can see myself putting a lot of time into World. But one of the things that I like to play around with the idea is that, you're basically taking up arms and going out into nature and just beating the shit out of the monsters just for no reason. And obviously there is a reason to it. That's not the whole point of this. The point that I'm getting at is that, to me, that whole idea is more or less a joke. But here comes PC Gamer to try to suck all the fun out of Monster Hunter with their review. Now, this was written by Sam Greer, and in it, he claims to have spent 200 hours playing Monster Hunter World before the expansion, and almost another 200 since starting it. So apparently he spent a lot of time with this game. But partway down, we start to see that there's something here that's absolutely ridiculous. It's sad, it's stupid. I don't even know how to qualify this. Like, is this actually a review, or is this just clickbait for the sake of getting rage clicks? So, partway through the review, he goes, There's always been an unease for me in playing these games where I'm asked to go out, invade the habitats of these species, and kill them to make the next set of armor and weapons. With World, the discomfort was extreme at times. Beating monsters till they limped, then being asked to lop off their tails to hear whines and squeals. No, you don't do it to hear whines and squeals. You do it because, let's be fair, you need a carve. You don't just kill the monsters in these games, you make them suffer. Engaging as its loop is, as enthralling as its fights are, which, by the way, that's the important point of the game. I've always been disappointed that they've created such a rich ecosystem, and the only thing they can ask me to do in it is murder everything. Point number 1. You are aware that there is such a thing as a capture mechanic, right? Now, I personally prefer to take the fights to the bitter end because I just flat out enjoy the fight. I enjoy the challenge, and I want to see it through to the bitter end. And yes, it has caused me to faint once or twice just because I did go a little bit too far, thinking, oh, this fight's almost over, and then took a hit that I shouldn't have, and back to camp, you suck, he rules, and then I go back and kill the thing in one hit and go, wow, I died at that point? How embarrassing. But do I ever spend the whole time thinking, let me go into this monster's habitat and end his existence, because that is my purpose in life. They call me the Life Ender. No, I'm sorry, that's not what I'm doing. That is not what I'm doing. There actually is a purpose to being a hunter in Monster Hunter, but I'll get into that in just a bit. So, continuing on. Iceborne does dabble in some alternatives with a new side quest asking you to go out and document the tribes of cats in the world with a camera. For an hour or two, I got to see what Monster Hunter might be like if it were more Pokemon Snap, and the result was surprising. Details I'd never seen before kept revealing themselves now I was taking the time to observe. It's a small thing, but a glimpse of what a kinder game could be like, making it all the more apparent what a cruel game Monster Hunter is. Are you fucking kidding me right now? You are playing a game. I don't know how best to stress this, but you're playing a game called Monster Hunter! And you're talking about how much better it would be if it were more like Pokemon Snap? Tell you what, if you want to play a kinder game, go play a kinder game. If you wished you were playing Pokemon Snap, play Pokemon Snap! You're gonna sit here and try to make me feel like a bad person for playing the role of a hunter? Again, in a game called Monster fucking Hunter. That name is as on the nose as you can fucking get. Monster Hunter. You hunt monsters. The core gameplay loop is the hunting of said monsters. Hence the name Monster Hunter. And you're going to complain about hunting monsters. Great. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Mr. Greer. I'm really glad that you decided to go on a rant about how evil humans are and go, oh, someone think of the poor monsters. Yeah, someone think about those poor monsters, those poor ecosystem-ruining, life-ending, civilization-destroying monsters. Yeah, they're the good guys. They're the ones that need to be thought of. They're the ones that we need to be kowtowing and placating. Not, the people who are just trying to continue to live their lives or the ones who are interested in doing research on how these monsters work. No, they're all the bad guys. The monsters are the good guys. Yeah, yep, completely, totally. There's absolutely nothing wrong about that train of thought. It even goes so far as to say, I'll just read the next paragraph. It's never stopped me having a blast with the game, but Iceborne makes it even harder to ignore with cutscene after cutscene, featuring our cast of hunters tackle their nature. By tackle, I mean claim to be part of the ecosystem and that by killing these monsters, they're somehow preserving things. It's a preposterous notion, parentheses. Our hunters aren't even from this continent, close parentheses. And yet, that the characters discuss it suggests Capcom are at least aware of the dissonance in its story. Yet, rather than actually address this or just go on ignoring this aspect of its world building, Iceborne lands on an awkward middle ground, drawing attention to the moral bankruptcy of its characters with a nonsense lie. If these games are going to continue to ask me to think about their world, then they need to spend more time entertaining the notion that its hunters are the bad guys. There you go. In case you were wondering if I was just speaking pure hyperbole there, no. This guy actually says, but you're the bad guy. Fuck you. Do I have to continue reading this dribble, this overly sensitive, completely bankrupt in its thought process bullshit? You clearly have no idea what the lore of Monster Hunter is. You have no idea what the actual purpose of going out and hunting these monsters really is all about. You think that the humans are the bad guys. Okay, what about, I'm just gonna pull a name kind of randomly out of my hat here. Zora Magdaros. It's making its way across the New World, this new continent that apparently these hunters aren't even from, which makes me think that you're trying to claim some odd form of cultural appropriation bullshit. Zora Magdaros is going to completely ruin everything and kill all sorts of people and monsters if the hunters don't take care of it. And yes, they do take care of it. That's part of the story. That thing is completely disrupting the ecosystem there, and the hunters are there to try to right that. But they're the bad guys. They're there to try to save the continent, but they're the bad guys. They're actually trying to preserve the ecosystem, save nature, and continue to protect civilization from this giant mountain-sized monster. But they're the bad guys. They're trying to help you, but they're the bad guys. They want to save you. They're the bad guys. They want nothing more than to try to course correct. They're the bad guys. Do you see what I'm getting at here? Do you see how absolutely motherfucking ridiculous this is? Now, I have no patience for this overly sensitive, just complete garbage. Oh yeah, here's another disappointment. Remember when I said that this game was completely over the top anime like battle fantasy? Here we go. Let's take this. If there's one disappointment besides the iffy storyline, pardon me, it's the fact that the game still has gendered armor sets and insists on making half the women's outfits a combo of boob armor and bikinis. Remember, anime power game. If the game's whole style was impractical outfits, then maybe it'd sit better. Got a point. But when the dudes are rocking elaborate but practical armor, it's sad to see the women stuck with miniskirts, their asses pushed into the camera through every crawl space. Worse, the other half of the women's armor is great, stylish stuff. So why these fumbles? It's an objectifying gaze that I'd hoped the series would have grown out of. So, so you don't think any of the male armors are at all revealing? You don't think any of the male armors do a lot to show off abs and biceps? You think it's all just plate mail, like just straight up plate mail? Now, I might be in the minority on this one, but some of my favorite outfits in Monster Hunter were the ridiculous outfits, and still are. I like the outfits that aren't just more plate mail. I like the armor that isn't necessarily just heavy armor. I like the things that are a little bit more stylish, a little bit more revealing, a little bit more, as he puts it, objectifying. Why? Because I don't see it, because I'm not looking at it just as a excuse to see some skin. Shit, I can go onto the hub and find that. No, I think it's interesting because there is no rule saying that I have to be wearing heavy plate armor in order to be taken seriously. As a matter of fact, I think it shows a lot of, like, if you're a character in this world and you've got your buddy over here with the switch axe and the heavy plate armor, your buddy over here with the longsword and the samurai scale mail, and then your gunner over here essentially walking into battle looking like a walking tank. And here you come wearing essentially the miniskirt, the thigh-high boots, and the halter top. Don't you think that people are going to look at you like you're the badass because you're being both beautiful and powerful? Doesn't that seem like maybe that's what that's going for, and not just, I like to ogle girls? Get the fuck out of here with this. Seriously, this review is absolute trash, and I will put the archive link to it in the description, because if you're actually interested in what this says, then by all means, there's plenty more to it. There's plenty more that I didn't read because I can only take so much of this trite. This overly sensitive, like, complete garbage. Ugh. It bothers me to the point where I can't even think straight. But I'm going to stop there because otherwise I might have to go over to my birds and strangle them under the pretense of saving the world from their tyranny. So I'm done for right now, but thank you very much for listening to my rant. Things like this are absolutely the reason why I don't listen to games journalists anymore, because they're not doing journalism. They're doing what they feel is their form of activism, using video games as their excuse, essentially. And that's part of the reason why I'm going to start using archive links, because unless it's actually good journalism about games and not activism disguised as talking about games, I don't want to give these people money by clicking on their article. I don't. And that might seem like a bit of an extreme point of view, but I'm sorry. After reading something like that, after seeing some of the outright lies and hypocrisy of games journalism, I just don't really feel like it's good to give them money for that anymore. So, there you go. Alright, that's enough out of me. I'm going to cut it there. It's been a while since I've done just a commentary video on something, and I had to get it out of my system. So, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I put out more stuff all the time. I play Binding of Isaac, and I'm currently doing a 100% playthrough of Hollow Knight that I'm having a lot of fun with. So, check those out, and I will be back with more stuff very soon. So, until next time, my name is Dark Sage Walker, and I will be seeing you.